Hi, hello. Welcome to the Consularship brought to you by Vertex of Abundance. My name's Serene Priestess Abossi. I'll be your oracle today. I was sent to deliberate the findings for a channeled reading. Uh-oh. We're going to just go ahead and begin right now. I will give you some particulars about this. So technically, it's a open reading, which is a channeled reading with a slightly directed topic. So all I know thus far is that we're moving through some ascension as a collective, especially the benevolent, exalted, chosen kind of collective, those called to serve a divine mission. Basically, they have a sacred or divine calling on their life. There's a couple few things we're moving through, okay? Divine love, which is both spiritual union, meaning we have a sacred union with the divine. We're basically enshrined or given an official title. We're kind of like married to God. All of that is the same exact thing, just different words. And God is creator source energy. It's not necessarily God, as we know in the Bible or any type of sacred text. It's bigger, broader, and better than that. It's a little bit more unfathomable. The second thing is also that spiritual union might step into the physical through a member of the soul group. So we're trying to interface with that whole like Jesus energy, which is really just unconditional love. Most people don't recognize or realize that. Okay, so unconditional love is trying to come for us here in the physical, whether it's through a sacred union or a physical union. Okay, and there's been obstacles to that because that's the last remnants of our illumination, enlightenment, awakening. There's some things to enumerate, which we've been spending time over the last couple few weeks doing. Okay, so now we're caught up. That's the generalities of the open reading. Now getting to the channeled reading. All I know is that this is about love. This reading here. Also, it has something to deal with those of us in the grouping, the subset, because that energy is universal to all of us. Okay, all of us enlightened, benevolent, exalted souls. Those with the calling on their life, chosen to serve a divine mission here upon the earth. Okay, so I just want to repeat: all of us with the calling on our life, those with a chosen to serve a divine mission upon the earth, we call that language exalted souls, whether we're benevolent or we're enlightened, awakened, or we are chosen in some way, those are all exalted souls. Okay. Meaning we have a calling on our life. We were chosen to serve a divine mission here upon the earth. As I said, we're all in a sacred union. It's mostly a spiritual union with the divine, meaning we're married to God in some kind of way. And God is not the same thing as creator source energy. There is a source that permeates, perpetuates, penetrates all existence in the entire universe, all nine realms of the creation. God is a word that sacred texts use to give us this attribute to strive towards goodness and benevolent consciousness. Okay. So, whatever way we interface with the universe, higher power, divine truth, justice, whatever, greater than ourselves, bigger than ourselves, loving, caring, and kind. Okay. Now, in addition, pardon me a second, we're having challenges. That sacred union is stepping out of the spiritual into the physical through a member of the soul group. The thing is, some of us are not attached to that unconditional love. And it doesn't mean that our souls are any less exalted, it means that that's the last couple few remnants of our illumination enlightenment, meaning our awakening and healing as a being in the physical. Because when we're born on this side of the firmament, meaning into the third dimension, under the terrestrial side of the moon, that's what it means to be born into sin. It's called sine waves. That's another word for sin. Remember, the Bible's allegorical. Most sacred texts are. Okay, so when we're born under the terrestrial side of the moon, or when we're born into sin, or when we're born said differently under sine waves, it's all the same thing. It's just different ways of saying it. When we're born into sine waves, we forget where we come from. We forget who we are. We that's why sometimes the tarot will make a person full of cups, meaning the cups will describe them really. It means that they're closer than anyone else comparatively, relatively, to understanding their authentic self and true nature, their genuine, sincere, authentic self. Meaning, our authentic self and true nature just means who we are, what we're about when we're merged back into the divine, when we have what's called a remembering. Okay, now, the other part here is that love, if love comes online for us, we're going to wake up and we're going to break free of any bondage. Bondage is the devil card. So if we break free of this bondage, the negativity, the toxicity, the illusion, the ignorance, the fear, the falsities, they dissipate rather quickly in our lives. And we're free to embark upon our sacred mission. We're free to fulfill the divine service that we agreed to while we're here in the physical, which means all of our spiritual inheritance will come in. It's the celestial endowment, it's the trust agreement written in heaven that awakens and guides and informs the path that we're walking and the experiences that we're having. But when we're locked, stock, and barreled, fully charging ahead on and in alignment with that celestial endowment, it immediately converts to spiritual inheritance. It starts to pay out. So that's what the enemy, which we can collectively call the devil, but the devil is not always evil, sinister, wicked. It's not always malignant, malevolent, malicious. Sometimes it's just us not fully awakened, not fully healed, embarking, acting out that energy. Okay. Sometimes it's that we're living a little bit separate, not completely unified. Sometimes it's that we're spiraling away from the divine or spiraling away from the calling in our life instead of towards it. And love is the thing that will kick us fully into that. Now, that was the open part of the reading. Now, the channel part of the reading, I don't know entirely what it's going to be about. I just know that there's a couple few of us still, remember, I'm only speaking to the exalted souls, those with the calling in our life, chosen to serve a divine mission by the divine, okay? Whether we're seers or healers or prophets or messiahs, ultimately light workers. There's a spiritual union, some kind of soulmate union that we should be in. And we've been a little confused. We might have had some kind of attachment either to, hey, why is this other side of the coin not getting a karma yet? Again, part of our lack of healing and awakening, yet to be healed and awakened. Or we're not really ready or wanting. We're ready. We're not really wanting to join our energy with somebody else. When we were put in sequestration, when we were separated, when we were isolated by the divine, we enjoyed that a little bit too much, and we're not quite ready to venture out into union yet because we want to stay unto ourselves. We want to be virginal, meaning not needing a man, not needing a woman, not needing a union in order to get what we need out of this place. And that's what the eighth house is about. Unfortunately, everybody has an eighth house in the chart, whether it has planets or not, meaning whether it's deposited or carrying a planet, which means shared resources, meaning there are needs that we have that we need to get through another energy, entity, ideology. It's hard to accept, but it's part of the situation. Okay, so we have the Lover's card, the Moon card, the Five of Swords, and the King of Pentacles. So I wanted to tell you the overall energy for this Oracle Council today, as we're gathered here in this reading, is the Lover's card, the Moon card, the Five of Swords, the King of Pentacles. I repeat, it's 4 cards that talk about the overall energy, the nature of this reading, even though other cards will come out thoroughly inform and define and describe, maybe even modify the meaning of these four cards here, the overall baseline energy as we're gathered here today in this Oracle Consularship reading is four cards. First being Lovers, second being Moon, Five of Swords being the third, and King of Pentacles the fourth. The Lovers card talks about union, communion, and partnerships. Unity, community, and partnerships. It talks about sometimes a soulmate union. It also could talk about, like I said, the exalted, which means the chosen here upon the earth. It could also mean our benevolent ancestors, the ones that when they transitioned, they went to the higher realms, not the lower realms, and they're definitely not an earthbound or lower vibrational spirit. It also could mean the ascended masters or just our own personally assigned guardian angels. Now, the moon talks about the lower astral. So maybe those who are earthbound spirits, maybe anything that's latent, that's bearing upon manifestation, but hasn't yet manifested yet, meaning we don't fully know about it. It also could talk about all the subconscious, the unconscious, and it also can talk about the instincts, not so much the intuition. Remember, instincts are the intuition of the body, intuition are the instincts of the soul. So it's somewhere trapped between instinct and intuition. That's when the moon card comes out. Otherwise, it'd be fully the high priestess. Five of Swords can mean a block. It also could mean standards and boundaries. It also could mean something that was short-sighted, so that it was a lose-lose situation. And if there is an open enemy, which it's negated here because the moon card means hidden enemies, ulterior motives, hidden agendas. So I don't think this is talking about enemies. I think it's talking about some kind of standard or boundary or some kind of short-sightedness. It can mean holding the field. So with this card here, La Luna, the moon, it could mean that we're blocking something from coming through, coming in. However, it already is kind of talking about another person, because this first line is the third dimension. So when you have a 3, 5, 7 of any suit or 9 of swords, in this position here, it could refer to another person. So it might be that we're blocking love. It also could be that there is some kind of energy already related to our soulmate union in our energy already, and we're not doing the mostest to permeate, penetrate, perpetuate this. Now, with the King of Pentacles, that's not yet a person. It can be. It probably is, because we have a corresponding card. So for a Pentacle court card, any other earth or water energy would refer to this. So this is talking about an earth midheaven. Okay. So the opposite of Pisces, which is the moon represents, would be Virgo. So we could have somebody that's a Sagittarius rising. Wouldn't be surprised, because that would be a Gemini descendant. And the descendant is what we're receiving, especially in terms of gifts from God, or when we go towards the divine or go towards our very next life, what's waiting for us, some type of soulmate union that might be blocked out or might have some standard or boundary or might be holding it down, meaning nothing's really progressing because something's being revoked. We might be trying to embark on other journeys. We might be trying to add in other energies, and it's not passing muster. It's not passing some type of approval authorization spiritually because la-di-da-di or yada-yada. Okay. Now, I'm just going to peek through here since we already did an open part of the reading. I just want to kind of see what the universe is working out to have a better understanding. Yeah, there's a couple few things we need to learn in terms of karmic lessons. The divine is bearing heavily upon our life. I do want to say that. Because now we have the justice and the lovers card. So there should be some fairness in love, but we might not be getting that because we're buckling under the weight of our own karmic causes. There are things alive in us, inside of us, that need to come to the surface because not a lot's going to progress until we learn a couple few things. With the world card here, and the high priest, okay, I called this one the high priestess. So this is the Regina Dispari, the Queen of Swords. So Queen of Swords with the Justice card could talk about a Libra moon. Queen of Swords with the Lover card can talk about a Gemini moon. To a lesser degree, it would be Cancer or Pisces rising. I agree with the Pisces rising energy. Um, it's also been suggested that we have a Sagittarius rising here. So if we have a Sagittarius, Saturn would be there in the first house. And um, the thing that I'm getting is this other side, if there is another side of the coin here, if we're matched up, this other side might know and they've been procrastinating. So Four of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles. Okay, so this thing is actively being worked out. This other party feels like there was a delay and now they're paying for it. And there's some type of rude awakening here with the Tower card and the Three of Swords. Over the next 6 weeks, this is going to come in hot and heavy. Maybe not passionate and heavy. It might be disruptive as it comes in with the Tower and the Three of Swords. They individually both mean rude awakening. Unfortunately, since the Tower card comes after the Three of Swords in the line of procession here towards the sun, it means what's called a major conjunction. It gives us a timing indicator of 3 cycles of the moon, also known as 3 fortnights, a period of 14 to 15 days. So about within the next 6 weeks, something's going to come in like that. Not like boom, but it's going to whoops upside the head because it's securing, working through some karmic causes. Eight of Wands, excuse me, I misspoke. Page of Cups, Star, Two of Pentacles, Ace of Wands. So this other side is going to attend to the situation. And again, over the next 2 weeks, over the next 2 months. So okay, I'm starting to hear narratives, which agitates me because that means there is some type of love here. And there's this Still Pulse song coming through. I'm going to source the song. I'll be right back. Grant me a moment. Um, mi scusi. Okay, so the name of the song is Bodyguard by Still Pulse, and basically it's one of us here is on guard. It's probably us, because we have a lot to give King of Pentacles. Somebody else needed to come through, pull through, handle through, up, do some kind of achievement, and they've done it. It did come with loss. They were working through some trauma, Three of Swords. It's the other side here as well, okay? They're going to attend to the situation, but we need to open the door. Ace of Wands. So listen to that song, Bodyguard by Still Pulse. It's on their greatest hits. I don't remember what album they are because they're a pretty old band, but they're still playing. And essentially, it's this always on guard, looking over their shoulder, vigilant, hyper vigilant, hyper vigilant. Not maybe hyper insecure or hypersensitive, but definitely hyper vigilant. Okay. It's basically, I wouldn't want to be a Seven of Swords. So there could be some trickiness, some sneakiness here. Unfortunately, with the moon, it does get a little bit more negative. There could be hidden agendas, ulterior motives. I don't really feel hidden enemies. If there's any enemies here, it would be open because the Five of Swords is present. They may just be hiding the fact that there's something here. something relevant and worthwhile. Um, or there may have been an unseen with the moon card. They may have came towards us really quickly and were shot back, shot down in some kind of way, shape, form, or another. We have the Nine of Cups, Knight of Swords. That is, there needs to be a combination of truth and affection or tenderness or closeness. This is just ginger turmeric tea. Okay, so King of Swords with the star card could be Taurus rising or a sun in Aquarius. We also have the Knight of Swords with the star card. So that could be an Aquarius rising. If there is an Aquarius rising, we would have Venus there in the first house of Aquarius as well, because the Five of Swords is present, which means standards, boundaries. There's a path here and it's protecting itself. Remember I said early in the beginning, we're holding down the field in some kind of way. We're trying to cancel out some kind of connection here because there's some boundaries and set. No, us. Whoever's watching this reading. The one thing we are doing is holding out for something else because we have some kind of terms and conditions. Yeah, terms and conditions we might have applied to the situation. For instance, they must be like this. For me, I tend to turn away anybody that's not into fitness. For instance, um, other girls I know, I have a lot of friends who won't date somebody that is not vegan friendly. Um, these are examples. I'm just throwing out arbitrary examples. Some people don't date, because they're maybe like a single mother. They don't date other people that don't seem to be on the surface into single mothers. So maybe if they're not a divorcee or have kids of their own, they might, you know, X them out before they get a running chance. There is something here where this energy can level up, but we've got to make a commitment first. So it's better to say, I'm giving my energy towards people. For instance, for me, I give my energy towards people who are into fitness, foreign travel, and family planning. So it's like just put it out there very succinctly and let the cards fall where they may, versus shucking and jiving, massaging, persuasion, hiding the truth to protect the feelings kind of deal. We could also have an Aquarius moon with the Queen of Swords and the Star card to a lesser degree. That would be some type of Scorpio rising. So we have Taurus rising, Scorpio rising, Cancer rising, Pisces rising, Sagittarius rising. So we've gotten 5 rising signs, I believe: Taurus, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Sagittarius. Yeah. So we have 5 rising signs. I'm going to repeat them just one more time. We might be dealing with somebody or ourselves. Somebody here is a Sagittarius, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer, or Taurus rising. Also Aquarius, so that's 6 rising signs. But for the Aquarius rising, they would also have Venus in the first house. Okay, and if not, it's not talking about that. That would be us. If it's talking about us and we're in Aquarius rising, we would have Venus there in the first house. If it's talking about us and we're Sag rising, we would have Saturn there in the first house. Otherwise, if the other person would need to be a Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio rising, or Taurus rising. Okay. Now, it also here has a Gemini moon, it has any of the air signs, so an air moon, Gemini, Aquarius, Libra. So just so you know, my darling, it also confirms all those other water signs. It's like a double. And then somebody here definitely is an Aquarius. Okay. I know for sure we're dealing with an Aquarius sun, Venus, and or rising sign. Okay. Somebody here also has their Jupiter either in the seventh house or in the sign of Libra. I also know somebody here has their moon in Aquarius for certain, or their Venus in Aquarius for certain. So what I'm getting is this energy of like shucking and jiving, hiding and massaging the truth to protect our feelings. And it's not so much us as it is that we're not open to anything that doesn't seem clear, because we want to make a commitment now. And anybody who doesn't seem like they're able to commit almost immediately, they get taken out of the race before they even get a chance to join. Vertex of Abundance is the galactic temple of ascension, delivering sacred messages from behind the veil. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I do want to say you belong, so welcome home. If anything resonates deeply with you, go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, leave a review, book a session, send a donation. Today from Los Carabello, we will be deliberating the findings for any type of correlative or corresponding energy by Veda Sibila. That's the daily oracle, again, by Los Carabello. If there's any love energy that comes out from Etsy, we'll be using the Pop of Love Oracle by Violet by the Tarot to deliberate any type of pairing or love energy that comes out. And then for the pairs from Ripe Avocado, we will be using the Minor Arcana from the Cosmic Coven Tarot. That's by Lillian Lazenby, again, over at Ripe Avocado. Now, we will be imposing the guidance from Liminal 11. Okay, that is the Modern Witch Tarot deck by Lisa Sturl. And again, that's over at Liminal 11 Publishing. Now, if this is for the imposing of the guidance, it's the overall baseline of the reading, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and deliberate some findings now. So I want to know about this Aquarius Sun sign. So yeah, there is something happening. So for some of us, we'll be experiencing something in the summer around Leo. Really, so that means it's an Aquarius full moon or something here. For a lot of us, most of us, something's going to happen in our 11th house. So I don't know what your house is, but uh, whenever something moves through our 11th house, something's going to happen, which means it's a leg up. It's something, God gives us things in the 5th and the 11th house, gives us benefits, blessings in the 11th house, gives us people that are helpful, whether they be an attendant, meaning somebody who's works for us or is paying off a karmic debt, or a lover. That God gives us people in the 5th house and benefits, blessings, gifts in the 11th house. So there's a man coming here. Okay. Now, it doesn't have to be a male-bodied person. It could be somebody that projects your energy out. They take command of the situation, or they're just magnanimous, joyful, helpful, loving, caring, kind. I want to check this Aquarius season energy here. Yeah, so it's a message coming from the divine ultimately, but it has something to do with love or something that's beginning, and there's a lot of hope there, and it's kind of already gaining fortunate progress. Alegría al Kawari is like a joy of the heart. So it doesn't have to be love make love. It doesn't have to be lover make lover, but it can be something that does warm the heart. I wanted just to see if there's an event happening, some kind of Venus, Saturn, or Moon lunar event in Aquarius, and that is. So there is somebody holding out. There is something holding out to do some love and make love, and they're gonna say something, and we're kind of in a stuck place. I mean, it's not moving, perhaps because they can't get to us. We might need to show up or come out. I do get the feeling that we've been isolated up until recently because of some kind of drama or trauma. We have a 3 of Swords and a 5 of Swords. So 3 of Swords on the other side means something was suspended. 5 of Swords means it was revoked. Seven of Swords means there was a trespass or a faux pas, but it's really more about something that was healing. Somebody said no or slowed something down because there was a wound. Three of Swords, with the Four of Swords, they're healing from that wound. It's now just a trauma. Trauma doesn't matter, don't care. It doesn't have to be something that we understand, like, or agree with. All that it means for a trauma and a drama means that it was an event, an experience that rose the level of which they could deal with the situation, meaning in that moment that the event or experience happened, they had to up their game. It was an experience that changed them. And until they gain the prerequisite materials, knowledge base, language structure, faith, hope, optimism, self worth, and value, understanding what they deserve and what they're worth, they're not able to handle. Until those things happen, knowledge, upping their game, language based knowledge structure, self worth and value, faith, hope, and optimism, until they gain that, it's going to be an active wound. Once they gain those things, it'll just be a trauma, something that was traumatic. So it's in the ethers here. Four of Swords is concussed. Again, it's until they come into alignment with the Justice card. The thing they need to come into alignment with, unfortunately, is love. Union, communion, partnership, mutual choices and decisions. The Lover's card here. They want true love. Yeah, but see, it's not coming out here. But look what we got, Lemonade, the union here. So that true love is God. When people talk about true love here upon the earth, what they're really saying is, I want to feel like I'm in a union with God. I want something that brings me as close to the divine as possible. Okay, so what is this Jupiter in the seventh house or in Libra? Because that would mean that they need some kind of divine assist in their union, communions, and partnerships. They need some kind of way out. They want to be set free in some kind of way, shape, form, or another. And it's true. Okay, so there's something being worked on here, or something's moving in secret, or there's some kind of mechanism, strategy. Yeah, because again, remember, they need a certain type of love or a certain type of joy of the heart. And they also need something virginal, meaning something they've never done before. So they're probably, if they were wounded or traumatized, it means that they had never really kind of spoke to the feelings in their heart, or maybe never pursued somebody, or maybe never opened up and was vulnerable enough to say, hey, I'm catching feelings here. What about that? Where you at with that? So we have all this stuff interacting with the star cards. So moon in Aquarius means that, um, or the 11th house means that our need for harmony, it needs to be, we need to understand what the future is going to look like, or what we're working towards in the future. Honestly, genuinely, sincerely, we need shared values, shared beliefs, and shared ideas. Yeah, there's other things that relationships need, or there's other things that people need in order to feel harmonized or safe and secure in their surrounding environment and location. But none of those things are secondary to primary shared beliefs, shared ideas, shared values. So let's take a look at that. So there's going to be some fact finding mission. We're going to go, drumming in the depths of this other person's soul, or we're going to go looking deeply into the recesses of the universe to see what's alive in them. If we did have any kind of curiosity, investigation, examination, any type of, that's what it would be. We're not budging when it comes to shared beliefs, shared values. We need, because that's the thing that brings calm to us. It, we can't incorporate energies that don't consist of shared beliefs, shared values, shared ideas. That's just not something we can incorporate. And we can open up with our feelings when we know that, when we make the discovery that let that out though. When we make the discovery that there's shared values, then we can go into more, we can join the party. Like we can unclench, we can take a load off, we could not be so rigid. And it's also mutual, it's on the other side as well. We need to know the thing about us is we need to know what a person's feelings are, or we can't really participate. Until a person's feelings are clear, we're just not gonna, we don't feel right, melancholia, until we know what another person's feelings are. We don't just go with the flow. We don't just, that's not how it works for us. We need clarity from the jump. And that's weird to people because a lot of people just want to feel nice and feel, no, I'm the arbiter of my own feelings. I'm the arbiter of my own energy. I will regulate and maintain myself. What I need from you, Mr. Mother Effa, is this. What are your needs? What are your intentions? What is this? What is this coming towards me? What is this energy here you're projecting my way? What do you want from me? And I don't mean that's what I'm getting. So until something makes clear, until there's a blinding flash of the obvious, we don't have it. We ain't got it to give. But then the energy immediately pendulum swings and we're giving, big giving, giving. We need to know what are we committing ourselves to before we even so much as discern. Yeah. So am I giving towards love? Because otherwise I don't have anything to give you. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand because they think they want to get into the refinement. A lot of people want to be interesting before they try to be interested. And we need people to show that they're interested before we figure out if they're interesting. And that's just something, but that's again, very 11th house, very Aquarius. Aquarians, it would appear to other people like it's backwards or sideways or weird. But they're more universal. They're acting in a way that you can't understand while you're in the flesh because it's so much bigger than what we can perceive than actual factual. It's not always in the history books, science books, religious books. We can't always get on Google or read the Bible and understand that energy easily. We need to come with our soul in our hand. We need to act according to what's alive in us. And that's the only thing that's gonna show that potentiality. And a lot of people don't, there's too much guarded energy. And we do appear to be guarded. We do appear to be inaccessible, unapproachable, non-amenable, non-agreeable. But here's the secret. We just have boundaries and standards. That's it. We're actually very loving, caring, kind, and we do come forward very clearly and correctly. It's not something that's perceived because most people would think that they're getting truncated, that they're getting cut off, that they're getting pushed out, that they're getting rejected. But really what's happening is we're asking for clarity. And we have standards and boundaries because we're not one of those people that could be easily soothed or comforted or motivated or encouraged. And until the other side, until their needs and intentions are clear, we don't have a lot to work on. And it's not our job to ask because we're already in our own energy going about our business. So here you are, whomever this other person is, here they are petitioning for our time, energy, effort, and attention without being clear on what their needs and intentions are. But when a future-paced person like ourselves responds to it in the now kind of person with what do you want, the in the now person perceives rejection or that we're difficult or that we're not being reasonable. When really all we're doing is holding our energy, standing in our standards and boundaries. When really all that we might actually be in reality, not in their mind, not in our mind, but in the absolute reality, meaning actual factual as it appears to be true, when really all we're doing is being non-amenable, non-agreeable, because we're non-approachable, non-accessible, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's called standards and boundaries. We don't know what we're giving to, so we ask to give nothing until things are clear. It might just be because our soul is exhausted because we've been pouring into everybody's cup but our own star card. And there should be a sense of vulnerability, but to be vulnerable, we need to feel connected. That's part of vulnerability. A lot of people don't understand. And the things that we connect to is ideas, values, and beliefs. And until that's, you see what I'm saying? It's like a catch-22. It isn't. See, the solution to this is to stop being strategic. It's fine to be cunning, it's fine to be tactical, but stop being strategic. You don't be strategic with people. You be honest and forthright with people. And if you're in a place, in a space where you're honest and forthright with people and they get filtered out, that's what they were supposed to be. See, if you're authentic with a person and for some reason it doesn't work out, really all they were doing was filtering themselves out. It's not our fault, it's not our problem. So we have the 3 and 4 of, I heard spades. So there's a blocking here because it seems as if something's being held in place. See, we're going on about our business and we're trying to put things to bed. We're trying to put things to rest. We operate in a way that means a lot of the energy that comes towards us, we need to file it away and move on. And until it's very clear that something's coming in that rises to the level of our standards, it's going to get ignored. People aren't going to get a lot of traction with us until they be very clear. And it doesn't mean that we're not open. It just means that other people need to be forthright. And a lot of people do that wait and see. That's the nature of the beast. Humans are, for the most part, a very social collective. They need connection. And we're communicating with the stars. We're communing with the spirits. We're deeply connected, but to the world right beyond what we can see, feel, touch, taste, and smell. We're very deeply connected, but with spirit. So when something here in the material is asking or petitioning for our time, energy, effort, attention, and it's not intentional, meaning forthright with their needs, we don't have it to give. And that appears to be a little bit of a blockage. It isn't. We're asking people to be divine. We're asking people to be spiritual. We're asking people to be sacred instead of profane. Judgments, mislabels, misperceive, misunderstand. We're asking them to come with their heart in their hand, to come with their spirit in their fingers, and that's not what's happening. So what happens is the window opens and closes just as quickly, because a lot of people have this longing and they're sitting there seeing something that they want, but that they can't touch, or they think that we're holding back. When really what they're misperceiving is we're asking them to come on the level. I don't like that always come correct. Yes, because there's policy, procedures, and protocols, but that when I say come correct, there's usually a degree of rudeness in that equation, and here there's not rudeness. There is assumption, but there's not rudeness. Here, they're just coming. They're not coming with enough. You know that saying, you must be this tall to ride this ride? They appear to not qualify. And it's an energetic equation. It's not a judgment equation. We're not morally judging, we're making a value assessment. So let's see here. Yeah, because we do have a lot to give. We want to give towards union. We want to give towards union. And all this other energy is friendly. They're nice, they're amicable. Amicability has very little to do with anything for us. That's what there's a difference between being nice and being kind. We're kind, but we're not nice. And this other person's trying to be nice. Things that seem pleasant. No, I need something that is actionable, factionable. Cogent and germane that provides traction, not okay, let me leave it there. So we have a pairing, it's the King and Queen of Swords. It might be that we're matched up with somebody that has affinity in our chart. So maybe their moon matches our sun, or our energy in the 11th house matches their energy in the 11th house, or there's some 5th, 11th house connection. It's one of those three. Maybe it's even an affinity around the Aquarius energy or the 11th house energy, as I was saying. Something's going to come back together, meaning there's going to be a reunion. Something might come back around, not necessarily circle the block, but something that has been a hardship or has been depleting or, destabilizing or dissipating will actually get a little bit more juice. This is the Knight of Cups, this martini glass here. So um, it'll make a homecoming. It'll come back around, and it will be a convergence, but it's slow. So something's going to come back around, and when that happens, so we're a little bit estranged from somebody right now, but we don't know that we're holding the ground on a union. Ten of Cups is a soulmate union. So let's take a look here and see what that means. Grant me just a moment, my dear. Yeah, Dark Night of the Soul attached. We're already in union, but we needed to kind of figure out some things within ourselves. There's some cold, harsh, scary things here, and whatever comes through is going to be bombastica. So it's going to plague us with depression or bring up things from the past. We're going to have to lean into self-love and deal with some trouble in some various ways because it's deep. It gets us where it counts, Scorpio energy. Um, we're going to have to learn to be fearless. And so that's part of it. I'm going to have to extend this reading. The link for that will be in the show notes. If you're watching this um, within the day that it was published, you may have to circle back around. It's going to take about an hour or two for the summary and the extended to come. Okay, take good care, darling. Bye-bye. Just a quick prayer for those who don't make the extended. A quick prayer for all those still lost out there to illusion, delusion, confusion, lost in the seas of time, trapped somewhere in the matrix, yet to heal, yet to awaken, yet to return to the resplendent grace of the divine, unconditional one, unconditional loving universal oneness. Upon we love you, we're sorry, please forgive us. Thank you. We pray that your steps are ordered, your path illuminated, that you find salvation and redemption in this lifetime. May we all be healthy. May we all be free. May we all be whole. May we all be at peace. May we all receive everything we ever wanted, starting with what we deserve until we meet again, until we read again. Namaste to Navat and Ashe. Sayonara, das vidanya, vidagain. Go ahead and smash that like button, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.